Hi everyone. So I'm going to be redoing my video and reposting it because I didn't realize my video had such a large glitch in it. I must have uploaded wrong on YouTube because my Wi-Fi might have been a little bad. So I'm going to be redoing it. So I'm going to be doing a persuasive speech about mental health. More specifically, mental health in the school system. So I'm going to be focusing more on middle school because elementary school you're more looking at like ADHD and those type of diagnoses. In middle school you see more kids with like eating disorders and depression and anxiety, and that's where it really starts to affect their schoolwork. So the National Alliance of Mental Health did a little bit of research studies on kids that were diagnosed with mental health disorders in middle school and high school and comparing it to adults. So there's 9.8 million adults diagnosed with mental disorders in America, and they experience a mental disorder that truly affects their everyday life, normally once a year. So comparing adults to kids, are diagnosed with mental health disorders are about 21.4%, and this age group is 13 to 18. So they're pretty young, and they're in the most important stages of their schooling, where they're going to be start applying for colleges, and where the peers and peer pressure has a greater effect on their everyday life. Mental health in schools is known as a hidden crisis because many people don't recognize all the signs and symptoms these mental health disorders carry. Like for anxiety, someone might say they have anxiety, but they're just anxious about a test. But there's some kids that really, truly have anxiety about nothing, and it just comes on out of nowhere, and it really affects their schoolwork. Or depression. These kids might be trying to avoid recess and trying to avoid other kids and wanting to just stay inside and hang out with the teachers instead of going to hang out with kids their own age, which has a huge impact socially when they're trying to develop socially and interact with peers. 1 in 5 kids living in the U.S. show signs and symptoms of mental health, but there's so much limited staffing in schools. All these kids can't be addressed. The kids with the most severe signs and symptoms are in a crisis are the ones they pay attention to. But some kids with like an eating disorder, they're not going to get to because they don't show severe signs and symptoms until it's possibly too late and they need to be hospitalized. Many kids experience self-harm, anxiety, depression, and substance abuse and eating disorders in these age levels, which is pretty scary. 13-year-olds getting addicted to substances and drugs and alcohol, or having an eating disorder at 13 years old because they're bullied because of their weight is very scary, especially self-harm. That's a big one with bullying nowadays. I remember in my middle school we would have assemblies in the auditorium to discuss bullying because it can lead to self-harming and possible suicide. But they don't address many other things. Like in my high school, eating disorders were huge, and I never noticed all my friends had an eating disorder because I didn't know any of the signs and symptoms. And if I did, I would tell teachers and reach out to their family members to try to gain their attention to it before it was too late, because many of my friends were hospitalized and they had to stay back because they were hospitalized for over a month trying to get treatment, trying to get it better. And it's very heartbreaking when you see your friends go through that. So I think schools really need to take a bigger step and learn all these signs and symptoms and how to address it to students and to their staff members and nurses. I mean, my school only had one nurse, and she cannot get to every single patient or every single student in the school. So I think they do need to increase their staff, and I think they really need to address students because students are with each other for over 8 hours a day, and if they play sports together or extracurricular activities, they're constantly with each other. And knowing signs and symptoms and telling people it's okay to reach out for help, and who's there to help, and who is that one person in your life that you can go to see. If you're too scared to go to your parents, there's guidance counselors, there's teachers, and there's other class members and their parents that could always help and always have someone to talk to. Experts say schools play a huge role in this, and which I was trying to say, because students battling through a mental health disorder, you start seeing their grades slip, a straight A student going to failing, or they're just not going to school anymore they miss a whole week of school and no one's reached out to them because there's so many other students they're trying to take care of. Schools need to play a bigger role in this and need to really reach out to students and parents together and really help get students through this. I think as educators, they play a huge role in it. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope this educates someone and helps some staff member or professor or teacher really keep an eye out for mental health disorders in the future. Thank you.